Well, this Women's Month, we recognize the remarkable contributions of women in tech who are paving the way for a more inclusive and diverse industry and explore the challenges they face in forging their career paths. As we commemorate Women's Month, we also celebrate their accomplishments, examining the challenges they encounter, and of course discussing the initiatives to promote gender equality in the industry. By recognizing their achievements, we aim to create a ripple effect, encouraging more women to join the tech revolution. And to celebrate more women in the technological stream, we joined virtually by Sue Nyamnjoh, Botlhale AI Solutions Product Associate. Sue, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Hi, Simpiwe. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, what inspired you to pursue a career in tech as a product associate, and how did you get started?
So I took a fairly unconventional path to a career in tech. I didn't study that. I come from a background in humanities, media studies, and languages, and started off as a technical writer. And what really drew me to Botlhale was more so what they were trying to do in the industry and what their mission was in terms of the African languages that they were trying to promote in the tech industry. So I think that's how I came on board, and they were very supportive, and it was a really great space to grow and learn as a product associate.
You know, so many strides have been made in terms of, the contribution to this industry, in terms of the growth of the industry. But according to you, what remarkable contributions have women made in the tech industry?
Honestly, when I think about it, I think of one of my colleagues at Botlhale called Mokgadi Setsek Hamolo. And she recently completed her master's degree. And part of that research was in looking at ways to transcribe sign language, South African Sign Language, which has recently been added as one of our national languages in South Africa. And so she was researching ways to use machine learning algorithms to transcribe that.
So let's talk about the kind of accomplishments that we're celebrating during Women's Month in the tech industry.
I think for me personally, the accomplishments are when I see more and more people entering, more and more women specifically entering into the tech industry, more and more people moving away from traditional gendered roles and entering into an industry that was previously not inhabited or occupied by a lot of women. I see a lot more women participating in hackathons, a lot more people making a lot of groundbreaking research and entering into the workforce and bringing with them their way of thinking, their way of being, the creativity and the ideas that they have. And I think that's really beautiful to see.
And the issue of the gender issues that you just highlighted, and these are some of the issues that we should be putting more emphasis on, especially on Women's Month and beyond. The fact that we always attach the gender tag to individuals and overlooking what that particular individual can actually do. Why in 2024 are we still referring to female technological experts? Why are we referring to them as if they can't do beyond the fact that they are female? And having said that, let's talk about the kind of role that women have played in terms of, paving the way for a more inclusive and diverse industry.
I think inclusion and diversion goes hand in hand. Once you begin to include more people that are not traditionally included, you get diversity because you get the diversity of their voices, the diversity of the way they think, and you get all of the richness that they bring to the table. And oftentimes people can get overlooked because they think, or other people, I'm not sure who, think they don't have a lot to bring. But I think I don't know, when I'm in rooms and I see people that don't look like me, people that don't have the same background as me, those tend to be the richest conversations that I have more often than not. Yeah.
And having said that, how then can companies create a more inclusive culture for women and the unrepresented and the underrepresented groups?
Okay. So I think it starts by first giving access. So not just, it's twofold. I think it's access, and it's also developing a culture of listening and not approaching diversity and inclusion as some kind of tick box approach that you have to take in order to satisfy quotas or things like that. I think once you let people into the door, you have to really give them a chance and listen to what they have to say and listen to what they have to contribute.
Indeed, indeed. And as someone who works as a product associate and works with different technological products, what's the ultimate goal of making digital services more accessible in local languages across South Africa?
I think the ultimate goal is we are in a current AI revolution. AI is taking over. AI is everywhere. People are talking about it. It's a buzzword. But it's really about building systems for us, by us. And when I mean us, I mean primarily African people. So that we are not left out of this digital revolution that comes in, and we are able to say that these systems that we are building did not come from the West or somewhere. They came from us, and they work for us and our particular contexts. And one of the ways in which context and cultures are translated is through language. Language is a vehicle through which, if you look back at a people's language, you can see the evolution of their culture through and through. So I really think that by starting off with languages, including them in the digital space, it leads to more access, and also we're making sure that the systems serve us in the way that we want them to.
And how will access then to digital services in local languages impact education and learning outcomes in Africa?
I think language is something that it can either hinder or help. And well, like hinder in the sense that if it's not there, like it becomes harder to communicate with someone. And when someone is able to access services and languages that they trust and understand, it just makes that transition, that whatever you're trying to, the point that you're trying to make across, it just makes it that much easier to ingest. And if people are not having to translate things in their heads before accessing digital services, if people are not having to do that double work, then it cuts time, it saves time, and it also builds confidence in navigating the digital terrain.
Well, Sue, have you at all faced any challenges as a woman in tech, and how have you overcome them? And how do you think we can encourage more women to pursue careers in tech?
I think I'm lucky in the fact that, like, when I came on to Botlhale, it was very, very, like, we're a very young team. We're very, our team is also very similar in the way that we approach the world and think. And I think right now there's about, like, I want to say 50% is men and women. So not necessarily on that front, but in terms of like encouraging women to pursue paths, I think it's really about listening to yourself and thinking about what you want to do and not feeling stopped or stuck and feeling like you can't do something because people have told you not to. But I think it's also looking to other people, because at the end of the day, you cannot be what you do not see. I really strongly believe that. And if you've never seen someone that looks like you in that kind of position, it's hard to imagine that for yourself. But I think it's okay to be the first, you know?
Of course. Of course.
Putting that out there and hoping that people, women specifically, take on these like the paths that have been less walked and do it for themselves beyond anything.
All right, Sue, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thanks, Mpiwe. Have a good one.
You too, thank you. Well, that is the product associate of Botlhale AI Solutions, Sue Nyamnjoh, sharing her insights and experiences in technology as we celebrate those women who have made it in their career paths and, of course, those still thriving to achieve their dreams.